I said it the other day that Sam is always in my space, and Ovado said otherwise. I'm happy you've confessed now that you're always in my space.
Who put forward the call today?
What can I do? I just have to accommodate and tolerate you. You're supposed to be my buddy, but I've not accepted you back into the fold fully. But you just have to work your way into the fold. But it is what it is. Sometimes when you have people like you, leeches like you just know how to.
So I've now become a leech.
You just find a way.
Hey!
You just have find a way to just just tolerate and accommodate him. Sometimes it can be a coconut head. Well, it's been a really pleasant day mixed with fun, drama, twists and turns here and there, football activities as well. Tottenham Hotspur, clear favourites to win the game. Controversies littered everywhere here and then. Of course, Watford pummeled, shellacked, dropped by a wicked West Ham. It is what it is. Welcome, Lagos. Good evening.
Certainly, good evening to you. And guys, remember, you can be part of the conversation today by joining myself and Adeze in the studio. We'll be here up until 8:45 before we hand over and switch, handing the baton, like we love to say here, to the other guys in the studio, the rest of the Femi and the Gang members, and they will take you through the live football that will go down from 9 p.m. It's Leicester City hosting Liverpool. And that surely is a cracking encounter to look forward to. And like Ada said, if anything, if it's the fixture we saw earlier today, 3 fixtures on the cards, is anything to go by, you can be rest assured that game will be quite fiery and feisty and entertaining as well. Remember, guys, you can join us. 0700 993 993 993 is the number to dial to get through to us in the studio. And of course, we've got a female line exclusive to our female callers. 01465 7190. Ada's got all of your WhatsApp messages covered. 080 9597 5805. That's the number to send your WhatsApp messages to. And you can join us and see us live in the studio. Myself and Adeze via our social media handles. We're streaming live on Facebook and, of course, on YouTube as well. On YouTube, Nigeria Info FM. And, of course, on Facebook, Nigeria Info FM 99.3. So go there and drop your comments. And, of course, get to see us live in the studio. There's so many things to talk about today. Just to give you a rundown of what's to come, we're going to talk loads and loads of transfers on the broadcast today. What's Sam saying, Ada? Have any idea?
I don't know.
Are you talking to me?
You just scammed him.
Oh, he's part of that David the Bakel?
Oh, is he part of... But he doesn't go about lamenting like Dave. He just sulks and stays quietly,
Sam will see you anyway. But I can't understand what you're saying. Maybe you have to. Anyway, he walks away. But anyway, guys, I was going to give you a rundown of what's to come on the show today. We're going to talk loads and loads of transfer stories. That the biggest has got to be Barca. For all of the troubles they're having, they seem to be doing the business in the transfer market, albeit it in a rather unusual manner. It's come to be the way of Barca. Transfer stories, injury stories as well. We're going to be also reviewing the year. If you've been following us for the last couple of weeks, it's been about the Femi and the Gang review, sporting year in review. And today we're going to be touching on the very last month of the year, the month of December. And so many things happened, all of that from 8 p.m. And as well, our Femi and the Gang AFCON countdown continues today. And we're going to be looking at the countries who have won the title ever since it first began in 1957. And of course, building to all of the live football that is to come between Leicester City and Liverpool. And that's the rundown of the things to come right here on Game On 99.3 Nigeria Info. I'm ready, and that is ready. So let's go. Let's Camp Now, Adeze Michael, and you interested in talking about this, and obviously it's got to be the biggest news today, and that's about Barca's acquisition of Ferran Torres, the Spanish international from Manchester City. The 21-year-old makes a return back to Spain for £46.3 million, just 18 months after leaving Valencia in Spain to join Manchester City. He signed a deal until June 2027. And get a load of this, Ada. £842 million buyout clause. Typical of Barca. You want to say when they do this thing. Now, Barca, we hear, will pay £8.4 million in add-ons. And this is the interesting part. They must sell some players to comply with La Liga financial regulations, the club, as it stands, is unable to fund the deal despite its current financial troubles, thanks to a recent bank loan. Ada, this has got to be big from a Barca perspective and also from a Man City perspective, because 43 million pounds at this point can actually go a long way in getting another striker in replacement for him.
Well, I think for City, money has never really been their problem.
True.
I don't think it's about the victory of financial gain. For all of their exploits this season, they just lost one of their attacking player. I'm talking about Ferran Torres. But two issues now, two counts for Manchester City. Their failure to convince the player that his future lies at City, and then for the player himself to make that impact to convince City that his future lies at Etihad. But it is what it is. I think it's good for both parties. Ferran Torres, I mean, he somehow has been very maybe struggled a little bit in stamping his authority. COVID issues, when he picked up form for City last season, he had that COVID issue, and then other players' form. It's a competitive City squad. Other form of players also made him to find life in Etihad very, very difficult. But I think in overall, I don't even think, coming from Valencia as a player, I don't think he's really found life at Manchester City quite interesting. Most of all the times, he's that kind of player that you see him indoors. Didn't really associate much more, or maybe enjoy himself into the heart of the town. You don't get to see him maybe move around, look for new cities or new friends and all. But he was always almost indoors. So this is another opportunity for him to go back home where he came from. I mean, Spain's weather is quite different from the weather at Manchester City. But then it is what it is. For the Barcelona, I think it's a big gain for them. We saw how they were really, really profligate in front of goal against Sevilla in their last game. How do you muster 21 shots in the first 45 minutes without finding the back of the net? They've really been blunt, and Xavi has made it clear to everyone. He said, I need a player that is fast. I need a player that is clinical. I need a player that can come in and open the pitch. But for this man, they're buying a 2-in-1 striker. A striker that can play as a winger, and a striker that can play through the middle as well. His record for City quite poor, 16 goals and 43 appearances. I talked about how Guardiola, didn't really get the best out of him, and Guardiola somehow didn't also show him that way. Just the way he's giving Jack Grealish all of the time and all of the opportunity to grow. I don't think he really gave that young man that opportunity. So I think it's good marriage for Barcelona, who's getting a very young player and he's improved so much under Guardiola. So I think for Xavi, it's more like plug and play, just straight into there, and of course start getting the goals. We saw how they struggled. They started the game in Sevilla with what's his name? Eddie.
Yeah, Abdelaziz, something like that.
That funny name. He's an African though, and then paired with the young star there. I can't really remember. Then I think it was just a blunt attack, for Barca. But good to know that Ferran is back, in Spain and doing great things, which is also somehow a big advantage for Enrique, who will have more time and is closer to him now, is closer home. Watch him progress and join more in the Spanish national squad.
Well, it's quite interesting because the City director of football, that's talking about Shiki Begristen, he spoke about the signing, and he said Ferran should be proud of what he has achieved here at Manchester City, something you also mentioned at Daisy, Michael. But the question is, how does City get a player for under £20 million? He's not had a regular starting shirt in the team, and then gets sold for close to £50 million.
I think that's what Pep has done. Pep actually improves players. We've seen that, despite the fact that he had COVID issues, like I mentioned. Each time he was called upon playing in the false nine role, he gave account of himself. He could have even scored more goals. But imagine competing, being in the midst of Kevin De Bruyne, Jack Grealish, Red Mahrez. I mean, it's so
Sterling,
difficult. And then you now picked COVID. Just when he was about to come back, City now enjoyed this long, run in the Premier League. So I think for Barca, they never learned their lesson. Why insert that ludicrous, terrible, incredible amount of, release contracts? This is what has been part of their problem over the years, and it would appear that they're also not learning their lessons. But they have some money to spend now. I think Goldman Sachs, the company that gave them money, to pay over 35 years. I think they can breathe and spend some money. So I think it's a good buy for them overall, and he's going to play now that certain Sergio Aguero has retired. He would have they would have made space in that wage bill, that humongous wage bill. There will be space to pay him, and then in January 3rd he'll be unveiled. So I think it's good news for both parties. Yeah.
All right. I wonder what you make of that one, Barcelona fans. You must be excited. Ferran Torres, clearly an interesting prospect from Manchester City. And of course, the amount we're talking about, 46.3 million pounds, and he's got an close to 900 million pounds release clause inserted in his contract. Contract runs up until 2027. Let's talk about Ben Chilwell, the incredible left back for Chelsea. Unfortunately, we hear that he may be out for the rest of the season because he will be needing a knee surgery, according to news coming out from England. The English 25-year-old left back, who here has suffered an anterior cruciate ligament injury. Now, we know what ACL is like. I mean, certain top-class players have suffered this, and really, some have come back into the reckoning, into the fold. I think David Beckham also suffered this before the World Cup, and other big players also did suffer this. He got that injury in Chelsea's 4-0 Champions League win over Juventus back in November on the 23rd. Now, Chelsea initially said he wasn't going to need surgery, just a rehabilitation. But it's emerged that the man who's got 3 goals and 1 assist in the 6 Premier League games this season, the initial scan revealed that Chilwell had suffered an ACL tear, and Chelsea boss Thomas Tuchel at the time had said that the next 6 weeks will tell the story. 6 weeks has come and gone. Now we hear he needs surgery, likely to be out for the rest of the season. Marcos Alonso has clearly not the fans' favorite, but he's done a good job. Started off the season in place of Ben. But as it stands, Ada, before we go on that break in less than 3 minutes, do you think Chelsea need a replacement in January?
Absolutely. It's no brainer, Sam. At this moment, it's no brainer. You cannot rely on one left back.
And they've got other players that could fill in as left back.
I'll get to that. Within 5 competitions, Chelsea are vying for 5 competitions right now. Premier League in the mix, FA Cup is there, Carabao Cup in the mix. We're talking about Champions League, and then the club,
FIFA Club World
so
Cup.
it's a whole lot. You cannot bank on one man. Anything can happen. However, a big blow for Chelsea and of course the player himself. That injury is deadly. That injury has wrecked careers. When you hear ACL, oh my goodness, players do not want to hear that kind of injury because there's every chance that you'd come back. You may not. Yes, you can heal. You can come back, training, joining the rest of your teammates, but we don't know if you can come back to the same player you were before. We've seen players hampered. We've seen players come, they still feel the impact of that knee. Any little injury, they clutch to that particular place. I mean, but we wish him well. Chelsea gambled a little bit, Sam, it must be stated. When he picked up that injury, they assessed it, they felt it was an injury that would heal naturally. But as days went by, they realized that, hey, this injury is not going to go anywhere. And they decided that he should go under the knife. Because if they had embarked on that surgery almost immediately,
it happened.
Would have been talking about recovery process.
At the time.
And he's not even going to be ready, according to reports. He's not going to be ready even till at the start of next season. He may not even be involved in the preseason tourneys. Wow. So it's a really, really big blow for the player who enjoyed some fine form in October, scored 4 goals for club and country just when he was about to pick form. The injury struck. But for Chelsea, they've got options. There's a certain Emerson Palmieri who is out on loan. And then there's a certain Ian Mastin, a left back as well. And they could go to the market. There are players looking around. They've been linked with a lot of players. I'm hearing Lucas Digne, the Everton man, is quite restless now. Let me use that word, restless. With Everton, he's fallen out of favor with his coach, Rafa Benitez. There's been this long talk about Nicolas Tagliafico, the Ajax
they've always been interested in him.
Exactly. So they can just go to the market now, sit down and decide who they would bring, because Ben Chilwell remains Chelsea's first choice fullback, talking about that left back position. But then Alonso has come in. He's been very much lucky. But we know Alonso's history. He's not durable. He's always not available. He cannot be relied. He has this knack of running out of steam when the competition heats up. So we're not praying for him to get injured, but Chelsea must sit down as a club, the board, and get the right person. Not just going to the market to get a left back to fill in.
I just bought a land at Ikorodu, and I want to commence building immediately.
Nice. Please,
Call Zeta certainly has to do the job. But Adese, before the break, you were talking about possible replacements for Ben Chilwell. In one sentence, you've also mentioned Lucas Dean. My question is, should they go for someone in the mold of Ben Chilwell himself, or just someone in the temporary, like another Marcos Alonso, like Lucas Dean has been mentioned?
I think anyone coming in now will have to be good enough, quality enough to give Alonso a good run for his money. I mean, I just mentioned...
Give Alonso, not Ben Chilwell.
Not Ben
himself.
Chilwell, because Ben Chilwell is going to come in at the start of the next season. So it's not just going to get a makeshift. Yeah, Ben Chilwell is solid at the back, going forward as well. He's a plum, the way he attacks, very dangerous player, and his discipline at the back is well documented for everyone to see. Always an upgrade to Alonso, but we cannot take away Alonso's quality, dead ball situations, and of course that ruthless precision in front of goal. I don't know, sometimes when he scores those goals, you want to ask yourself,
how do
exactly? Maybe was he supposed to be a midfielder or something? Reminds us of that conundrum involving David Luiz. If he was going to be a defender, if he's going to be a midfielder, given the fact that he also knows how to blast those shots real hard. So Chelsea needs to get quality, maybe someone that is more defensive minded, given the fact that Chelsea's defense in the last couple of weeks now has really been terrible. So I think we trust Marina and her crew to come up with the best decision. Lucas Digne, World Cup winner. Sometimes there's some players, when you get them out from smaller clubs, they could come to bigger clubs and thrive. Sometimes the pressure racks up on them, but Ben Chilwell must be replaced. That's the summary of the whole talk now.
All right, we'll talk more transfers from the 8 p.m. hour. But for now, important information to bring to your notice. If you listened while we were on that ad break, you must have heard something about a round table, and that comes up on Friday. Quite fitting that it happens on the last day of the year, Daisy Michael. If the Nigeria Info Roundtable, which happened 2-3 Mondays ago, is anything to go by, and if you listened to last year's roundtable for Femi and the Gang, you will know that it's something really exciting to look forward to. Every single member of Femi and the Gang will be live here in the studio and analyzing the year 2021 sporting-wise, all the major. So we've been doing this month by month, every day on Game On, but this time around, it will be every single member of Femi and the Gang in the studio. Myself, Daisy Michael, Emmanuel Edsim, Serafina Napoleon, every single former Igbamuno, and possibly Femi Obong Daniels himself, live in the studio or via Zoom or whichever the case may be, to join in on the conversation. 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. on Friday, the 31st of December 2021. It is the Femi and the Gang round table. You don't want to miss that. Also, worthy of mention that tomorrow Femi and the Gang's 38 bars continues, and this will be match day 19 or match day 20.
Match day 20
Match day 20, yeah. And it features the game between Chelsea and Brighton, and of course Brentford against Manchester City. 2 games on the cards for you. You've got live commentaries from Femi and the Gang members. You've got amazing giveaways courtesy of our partners and friends from MP Master's Choice drink makers of Sket, blended brandy and Sket cafe rum. You've also got Indomie noodles doing this alongside us, and of course our amazing friends at TSG Arena for your authentic football jerseys, and of course cash prizes as well, courtesy of Femi and the Gang. Sometimes at days of Micah, I just wish I could be a fan and not be the the Femi and the Gang member, so that I could especially that Indomie eating competition, really I really want to get in on that as well. So many giveaways lined up for you tomorrow, and we will be at the MP Masterpiece Hotel, more like, tomorrow, Thursday, the 29th of December 2021. That's located at 39 Akonro Street by Sakajojo Junction at Ilasa bus stop in Lagos. So Ilasa, are you ready for Femi and the Gang? We're coming to your hood, and we will be at 39 Akonro Street by Sakajojo Junction at MP Masterpiece Hotel. That is the venue for match day 20 of Femi and the Gang's 38 bars movement. You certainly don't want to miss it. 2 games, Chelsea against Brighton and Brentford against Manchester United. So keep those information at the front of your mind, in your palms, anywhere you can easily remember. You don't want to miss that. We'll be going to the phone lines very, very shortly to get your thoughts. But Adeze, this is big. We're counting down to the African Cup of Nations. And we've talked about this before, myself and you. Actually had, I think it was Thursday, where we had that conversation about Victor Osimhen and his possible availability for the Nations Cup. So it's 2 things now. we know he can be available, but it's a case of his full participation in the tournament. Well, he did declare himself fit to be in the tournament last week, and he's been included in Nigeria's provisional list for the African Cup of Nations, which kicks off in a couple of weeks more like. But the question is, Napoli doctor has come out to say, guy, calm down, slow down, don't get ahead of yourself. You're not fully healed and ready to get back on the pitch of play just yet. He says that, according to Napoli doctor, professor, and it's important we mention this, he's not just a doctor, he's a professor, Gianpaolo Tartato. He said that Victor Osimhen is unlikely to kick a ball. Yes, you can go, but you may not fully, be involved in the tournament. He said it takes 60 to 90 days for the bone callus formation unless there's a biological Christmas miracle. So he's saying you need a miracle. You need a miracle to play at the African Cup of Nations. You can go, but if my calculations are correct, you will barely kick a ball. Now we know he's in that list at Daisy Michael. So there's a lot of things to talk about here. His availability and then his participation. It's likely, you and I can sit here and say Osimhen will most likely go to the Nations Cup as long as he's declared fit. But the problem is, should we take a striker we know will probably not give us 100% in the Nations Cup to the tournament? Is it just because it's Victor Osimhen that we are going with him? This is just, I don't know, another risk on the part of Victor Augustine Eguavoen.
Honestly, on the path of the player, I can understand the anxiety. I can understand the dilemma he'll be now. He's given everything in the qualification series. He's our highest goal scorer, in the build up to the AFCON. And just when the real party is about to begin, and you're telling me I can't get in, it's so difficult to swallow. It's so difficult. And now, sometimes football is like that. Sometimes life can be cruel. You set the tone for other people to come in and enjoy it. But who are we to question the doctor? But, there's been this back and forth club and country road. But I have an advice for, the clubs tonight. When you're signing an African player, you should know at some point, within 2 to 3 years to 4 years, that the player may be going down home. When I mean home now, to Africa, to play some tourney. Because why I say this is this. Who asked Osimhen to start running some 3-4 weeks ago? Let me not say 4 weeks now. From some 2-3 weeks ago, who asked Victor to start running? The footage,
personal decision.
The footage was a personal decision in the club's training ground.
Well,
who okayed it? That is where my own argument is going to start from. Who okayed for him to start running, and who provided the mask for protection?
Okay,
because it was on the mask that they running. Because if we didn't see that footage of Victor running, probably I won't sit here to make a case for the player. I'll just say, Victor, you just need to sit back right there in the city of Napoli and support the team. But he started running. Not like it was a knee injury or ankle injury that will require healing. He's done the surgery. And it came out nice. It was successful, right? And all he needs is for the injury to heal. But I feel somehow, because Napoli is their key man now. We cannot take. He's no longer hidden now. Those big heads that used to be there that somehow made his chances quite difficult to come by last season. Talking about what's the other man's name now?
Arcadia Milik and co.
No, not Milik. The Belgian.
Dries Mertens.
Exactly, Mertens and. Insigne as well. These guys are getting towards the twilight of their career. So it's Victor's time to shine. And he's shown. He got the goals for them. When he got that injury, they struggled for results. It's just recently that they started finding their way back to winning games. But when Victor was not there, it was clear for everyone to see that they were completely toothless in attack. But I hope they're not playing games with us. And when I mean the Napoli board, because he's a player we need.
According to what we're hearing, so Victor wants to make a comeback in the game against Juventus in a couple of days before heading to the African Cup of Nations.
This is sounding funny. Victor wants to come back.
That's what we're hearing. He wants to make, but the doctor is saying Juventus will most likely rule him out of that game. So it's up to the Nigerian team. It's clear they will release him. You want to go, fine, go. But you will not be making your debut or comeback or whatever the case may be for us until when the doctor says so.
Well, I think the club will have the final say as it stands, unless the NFF want to send their own doctor to assess Victor. Because we need him. Yeah, in as much as he's important, we've got other players as well that want to have a bite at the cherry. We're talking about Emmanuel Dennis, who is just unstoppable these days. 8 goals already, if my stat serves me right. We're talking about Kelechi Iheanacho, who can also double as a striker, right? We have got exciting wingers. Samuel Chukwueze as well has come back from that injury. He's beginning to score goals for his club Villarreal. Yes, if Victor is not there, I think we've got other players that can step up to but we need his aggression. Victor plays with intensity. Victor gives everything each time he's in the field of play. We've watched him closely right here in Lagos. We've watched him each time he's wearing that green and white jersey. It's just something else. So I think I just hope that we want to see Victor play football at AFCON. But if the club thinks otherwise, talking about Napoli, who are we?
All right, very quickly before we go to the phone lines, that one final question with the form of possible unavailability of Victor Osimhen, the form of all the other strikers. Paul Onuachu also ruled out, if I'm not mistaken, from the tournament. Who should lead the line in that first game against Egypt? We're just talking about days now.
Sam, this is $1 million question. Well, we would appear that Odion Ighalo is still in the mix.
Forgive me for laughing.
Odion Ighalo is in the mix. Don't laugh, because Emmanuel Dennis, he made his debut 2019.
Taiwo Awoniyi
as well. Taiwo has shown us that I want to make everyone know that I'm quality, for the fact that I've really been a nomadic player. I've gotten a place I can settle and call my nest in Union Berlin now. So he's scoring goals. So I think it depends on what the formation that Guavon want to play. There are all different kind of strikers that offer different things. Odion Ighalo comes with the experience, although sometimes can miss a handful of chance. I like something. There's something that Austin Guavon said about that he's not going to pitch his tent with one particular tactics, that he's going to set the Super Eagles up according to the opposition. So if we're playing a side that's got young players, you need to also set up a striker that can run, a striker that can press from the front. And oh my goodness, that is where we'd miss Victor.
So clearly,
that is where
that's where he's
Victor
going. That doesn't suit Odion Ighalo.
And again, yeah, exactly. And again, for Emmanuel, I would have quickly picked Emmanuel based on form. But we've seen situations where people wear that jersey and the pressure is too much on them to deliver. They fail to replicate that club form into country. But Victor, he's managed both. It's not easy at that young age. So it's easy to call Dennis on paper, but then Victor, I don't know. Odion Ighalo's got the AFCON experience. We can throw him into the fray and hopefully he'll work on his pace. But sometimes, you can't really cheat nature.
All right, so let's see what you have to say about all of the conversations we've had. Victor Osimhen saying he wants to play. But Napoli doctors say, guy, you need a Christmas miracle to be able to kick a ball and kick it successfully at the African Cup of Nations. I've also talked about Ben Chilwell's injury and the fact that Chelsea may be looking to the January transfer market to replace him. Do you think it's a good idea to get a long-term replacement or a short-term replacement? Or do you think, Alonso, Chalobah, they're all enough to do the job?
Yeah,
and
Saul, quickly, Sam. Saul also can play left wing back, but it's almost
Saul ran away from Atletico Madrid.
Exactly, left wing back. So you don't want to play him there. I thought he was experimenting in that game against Zenit St. Petersburg. That dire performance was almost useless. So it's just to go to the market. We just have to buy.
All right, and of course, Ferran Torres' move to Barcelona. Man City has just cleaned house with this one. How do they get almost £50 million for a player who played just about 16 games for Manchester City?
43 games, 16 goals.
16 goals in 43. I mean, he's the 6th recognized. Imagine you're now going to sign Bernardo Silva or Phil Foden. I mean...
Okay, just one sentence to this before we get to the phone lines. Pep Guardiola made it clear, if you want to leave my club, please, I'll open the door.
I'm not going to hold you.
He wanted to leave. I talked about weather issues. I talked about not adapting fully into the city of City. So I think it was just that opportunity. I need to go back home. I need to play for Barca. Most of them, they grew up idolizing wanting to play for Barca. They are top club in the country. So it's a big opportunity and he's gone back home. All
right. When you call in, guys, turn down the volume of your radio set and make it as quickly as possible, giving you so many things to talk about. Ladies, remember, if you can't get through via 0700 993 993 993, you've got 01465 7190. Believe me when I say it's easier to get to us via that route. Good evening to you.
Hello, good evening.
Hi there, good evening. What's your name?
Compliments of the season.
Compliments of the season to you.
Yeah,
what's your name?
Thank you. My name is Muyiwa.
Welcome, Muyiwa.
Thank you very much. Now, before I even go into the topic of the day, please, who is our goalkeeper? Because of Salah. I want to know who can cope with the atrocities in court of Salah among our goalkeepers, please.
We've got 4
And
goalkeepers on standby at the moment. One will be dropped. John Noble, Daniel Akpeyi, what's this? The regular one, Maduka Okoye. And there's a 4th one I can't remember.
And then if I can pose the question to you, you are the expert. Who do you think can really do the work? While I pose that question, let me come back to the one you gave us.
Okay.
What I will really think of is that we shouldn't stress too much on Victor, on Osimhen, on a serious note. Because normally, that is where he earns his money. And then when they say he's not fit, we have to, they can come up with the tactics of not even playing him against Juventus, which they are
working
towards.
Play. They say he won't play.
So far they have said so. That means on their own part, they have said, well, this guy is not fit.
Yeah.
And we can't risk him because if anything untoward happens, then it affects his career in terms of his pay.
Yeah.
Where he earns his pay. So we have to be careful. As you have said, what we could do is look at other strikers and see how we can work on them.
Okay, in that case,
pray for luck.
Who would you, if you were Guavon, just pick one of the other strikers, who would you say should start that game against Egypt?
On a serious note, if you can work well on Kelechi Iheanacho,
as the centre forward.
Sir?
As a centre forward, the top 9 in that game against Egypt.
Yes, as a top 9, yes. Okay. On a serious note, because I'm still Dennis is another one, but has not been really proven. And Awoniyi, my problem with Awoniyi is many times when he has been called upon to really give what he can offer, he has not lived up to expectation.
Yeah.
Though with this new club, I can't really say. But if you look at Kelechi Iheanacho, speed and some other things, at least he can see the experience he has gained in England. He can still try to do some things there.
All right, then.
That is just what I feel.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. But the question I still pose, who do you think among I'm so concerned about our goalkeepers. Thank you very much.
All right. I honestly think, keep listening. I honestly think they're all in the same. Whichever one you start, I'm not going to give you anything different from the other one sitting on the bench. But that's just my honest opinion. Good evening to you. All right. Sorry about that one. Do well to call back. 0700 993 993 993. Good evening to you.
Hello, guys. Good evening.
Hi there. Good evening. What's your name?
My name is Henry. I'm calling from Ajah, Lagos State.
All right, Henry. Very quickly.
It's my first time, though.
All right. First time caller. But, Henry, you're calling a female line.
Sorry?
You're calling a female line. I just realized it. But go ahead. Go ahead. Very quickly.
Okay. About Osimhen, we seriously need that guy at AFCON. We need him so badly. I think Super Eagles should send their own, NFF should send their own medical team.
He's currently in Nigeria for the Christmas holiday, but he'll be flying back on Friday for that scan to determine
How about they check him out? They do some tests and find out if actually what Napoli is saying is true or not.
Yeah.
I think we actually need him. We need him. We don't have any outstanding striker right now apart from him.
All right then. Thank you very much. I appreciate you for calling in. Let me see if we can do one more call. Good evening to you. You have to be very quick. Hello? All right. Sorry about that. You're not ready for me. I don't know if we can do this in the next 30 seconds. Good evening to you.
Hello.
Hi there. Good evening. What's your name?
I am Shiviri.
Oh, sorry about that one. Do well to call back. Ada, can we squeeze in one more? The break is coming in very, very close. You've got 10 seconds. Good evening to you.
No, I'm not going to talk for 10 seconds.
Mr. Frank, and it had to be you.
I have to cool down until when you give me time.
All right. So
by then we'll greet.
Okay. Okay, greet me now. Let that greeting take us to the break.
That's some Nigeria Limited.
Yeah, welcome, Mr. Frank. I always love it when you do that.
Good evening. Welcome.
Make we use the 10 seconds start the show.
Yeah. All right, we've got 47 more seconds. Maybe you could just drop one.
Okay, make I squeeze in something. You see about Victor Osimhen.
Yeah.
When the matter started, they said 3 months. So I didn't bring this matter. I said Victor Osimhen is a Nigerian guy and he's a strong guy, and he's going to go to this competition. He said, okay, everybody say, Amen, we prayed a lot that day.
Yeah.
And today, now how many weeks or how many months? He's back, full strength. When Messi in the PSG, Messi, they said he was not playing, he was not fit. But he went to Argentina and played. Is it not true?
Yeah.
Victor Osimhen owns his body. If he says that he's fit, let them allow him to play.
More